What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. Make sure you subscribe to get more of these every single week. The book that I want to talk about is just dosed with craziness, and it happens to come in the form of some wholly pasteurized milk products, and that is going to be Jla Doom Patrol crossover, issue number 1, which is sparking a whole bunch of different crossover issues that are happening between these two, and it's just this kind of wild bastion of insanity. So I can't wait to talk about this. It's so much fun, and I love Doom Patrol, so let's dive right in and see exactly what's going on and whether we can really understand it or not. Okay, when we're going to dive right into Jla Doom Patrol, it is absolutely crazy. I mean, first thing that you want to look at the cover by Frank Quietly showcasing Milkman Man, this obvious Superman analog. I mean, the cover is just fantastic. I can't gush enough about this art. It is what grabbed me the first time that I saw it when they announced it at New York Comic Con. But when we dive into the rest of the story, things get even crazier and more interesting. First, we're dealing with a company retcon, which has been part of the canon inside the Doom Patrol story being told by Gerard Way, and they're evidently pitching a brand new world to... who is this? Lord Manga Khan? This is, it's a phenomenal character design. It looks so ridiculous, and I just can't wait to see what kind of story comes after this. So we dive into Happy Harbor, Rhode Island. We see Milkman Man approaching, cape in hand, headed towards this home as he kind of is greeted by one of the local people that he serves his milk to. But things get a little weird from there. There's these snaps and whomps and cracks as, it looks like people are being abused, possibly even forced to drink the milk. This isn't the kind of Superman that we recognize, but man, Milkman Man gets the job done as he leaves wake of, dairy products and disheveled people in his path. Of course, we do have the Doom Patrol just blasting into this new universe, which is very similar to what you see when you kind of hop out of Doom Patrol number 10 into this crossover. So I'm really excited to see where this goes as we get this very different look but very similar feel to what we get out of the standard series with Nick Darrington on art. So this is ACO, so you can see where the characters kind of come in, but I really like the way that this style set up, and of course you've got some fantastic character designs just from these really classic characters to begin with. First, they need to investigate what's really going on, and they find somebody's grandma? Somebody's grandma has been transformed into this bulbous thing that's sitting in the center of the, the room. It's just absolutely insane, but they have to call the neighborhood watch because these folks are under control. They're not sure who they're under control of at this point in time, but it's very obvious that they are not themselves. They do not have their own free will. And that goes for superheroes as well, as we see Lobo come in as Carl Lobo, smoking a pipe, slick back hair, with his eyes glowing red. It's just super odd, and I love every second of it. Since this is really a pitch by Retcon to Lord Mangakon, he goes over exactly, this character goes over exactly what went into it. They took the origin of superheroes, they devised it into the 3 archetypes, and then they used this pasteurized milk product to control people's thoughts and to kind of shape the world around them. And then we actually get into a little bit of classic TV show, which is pretty off-putting as it is. These cows come in, these mutant cows come in, shoot one of the supporting cast members as Rita Farr gets taken off for adjustment. It's just, again, it's crazy because it's Doom Patrol, and I love it. But the big thing is that when we're talking about what's happening, you've got this giant crack-a-coom, like after you've got, after them calling for the neighborhood watch, you've got Milkman Man floating in the air. And then you've got the Community League of Rhode Island led by Vixen, you've got the Ray, you've got Killer Frost, you've got Black Canary, you've got the Atom. Everybody's there, except they look like super weird 1940s, 1950s versions of themselves. Very, very Pleasantville and pastel in this case. But the battle ensues between the Doom Patrol and these Justice League of America characters. You got Lobo going on with Robo Man. You've got everybody taking their kind of cracks at each other, and it's just phenomenal amounts of kinetic art until you get to Milkman Man hoisting up Danny, the psychedelic ambulance that is, another world entity all to itself, getting ready to absolutely crush him and break him. But the big thing is these 2 pages, these full 4 pages of splash that, you could just tie them all together and create this one super long poster and it would look phenomenal. And you've got basically Flex Mentallo going up against Lobo. You got, there's just so much good stuff that looks and is going on in here. I just love every second of it. You got Milkman Man going up against Casey Brink, and Casey Brink isn't necessarily super powerful, but she's just always early. That's her superpower. She's always early. But the realization is that, these Justice League of America characters that are now the Community League of Rhode Island, they still have all their powers and they are just as strong. As we dive out of the battle, we get back into the presentation where we see the archetypes. The toughest one, evidently, it was easy to do Wonder Woman, it was easy to do Batman, but the one that was tough was Superman because he is more direct in his lineage from the god of superheroes, and they couldn't adjust it, so what they had to do was they had to create something from nothing. And if you've been reading Doom Patrol 10, that's going to give you a little bit better idea of what's going on. But, we see Jane jumping into her personality, bringing out her artist side, and then that's where she kind of breaks this reality entirely. She refreshes everybody's real understanding of exactly what goes on. You get to see the covers of the debut issues of Killer Frost, of the Atom, Ryan Choi's The Atom. Then you've got, Black Canary showing up. You've got the first issue of The Ray. You've got Vixen showing up in Action Comics. And then, of course, Action Comics #1, where Superman makes his debut. But this isn't Superman. Even though you get Action Comics #1, even though you get All-Star Superman's opening, you realize as he starts talking about his lineage, he isn't necessarily Superman. He's not something converted. He was something created from nothing. And if something was created from nothing, and you're reading Doom Patrol #10, that means that Casey and Terry's baby, which is a nothing that was created, it was birthed into the universe, is Milkman Man. And Milkman Man evidently has a lot to answer for. Of course, he is super frustrated. He has no idea what's going on, and he's like, don't look at me, and just blasts off into the cosmos. Superluminal speed, where the Ray can't even catch up with him. But the important thing is that they kind of resolve everything. They go over exactly what happened, how things changed, how things became the same, and there's a lot of explanation as to how things are going to be fixed. That is before Cave Carson's cybernetic eye shows up and gives him a holographic invitation to come help restore this universe. He understands that things are going wrong. Swamp Thing understands that things are going wrong. And then it's time for the JLA and the Doom Patrol to team up and head off into these other books and help rectify these changes that have been made by Retcon Corporation. And that's where we're going to kind of leave the book. And here's the thing. Like I said, I've said this a couple times in this video. I love Doom Patrol. I love what Gerard Way was doing. I love what Nick Darrington was doing, and this is just more of the fantastical because I get the idea that the influence of Steve Orlando was pretty minimal in this. Gerard Way helped guide a lot of the direction, but it was a very good partnership. It didn't feel like one voice was dominating too much, and then the art was very true representations of all the characters, whether you're talking about JLA characters or the Doom Patrol characters, and the new look and feel for these, Community League of Rhode Island versions of these characters are amazing. And then Milkman Man steals my heart as far as a tragic character that is a Superman analog that doesn't understand his place in the world, something that was created from nothing. So I thought that was pretty fantastic. But I want to know what you guys think too, so hit me up in the comments down below so we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.